I thought I'd do a video today on the house buying process over here in Australia because I get so many messages from people asking about the differences between here and the UK, especially because lots of you who follow me on Instagram will have seen the whole house buying process from start to finish when we bought our house here. And I just got so many messages about how different things seem to be. And that's because they are basically. So we bought our house in the UK back in 2017. We were first time buyers. We still have that house now. We rent it out and we bought this house here last year. So September 2022. And again, I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that whole house buying process back in the UK in 2017, and it took forever. And I'm sure lots of people in the UK can relate to that. If people have bought a house before, they know that the market there moves very, very slowly, and you can be waiting 5-6 months to move into a house, especially if it's part of a big chain. And although we were first time buyers in the UK, the house we bought was part of a chain. So it took about 5-6 months to move into our house. So from when we first saw it to putting in the offer to moving in, it took forever. And I feel like that's sort of a thing in the UK, that things just move very, very slowly. Whereas here in Australia, so many of you could not believe how quickly we moved into this house basically. So we viewed this house when Maisie was 9 days old. So she was born the 5th of August. We would have viewed this house 9 days later, so around the 14th. And we got the keys and we moved in the end of September, so the 29th of September. So from start to finish, from seeing this house to offering to moving in, it was about 6 weeks. And that's not that uncommon here. That's pretty normal for things to move that quickly. Even if there's a chain involved, people move here. So the settlement time varies between 1 to 3 months, but on average, your settlement time from start to finish will be about 6 weeks. And that's basically time for your solicitors and your bank and whatever else to get the finances in place, to get all the contracts in place, and to get all of the paperwork behind the house buying process. So the first thing I noticed, so it was a big difference between here and the UK, is in the UK, if you see a house you like, your first step is you call the estate agent. So over here, they're called real estate agents. In the UK, they're estate agents. You call the estate agents that have listed the house and you say, oh, I like this house, I want to go view it. And you book an appointment with that estate agent to go and view the house. And normally these appointments are one-to-one. So you have an agreed time, and agreed date, and you'll go and meet that estate agent and view the house. Over here, they do home opens. Now, you can get private viewings, but that's not really common here. So the main thing they do to sell houses is home opens. So if you put your house on the market, your real estate agent will say, well, this Saturday or this Sunday, we're going to do a home open. And that's basically an hour and a half time slot, usually on a Saturday or Sunday morning, where your house is basically just open for the public, for anyone who wants to come and have a look. And those home opens can get very busy. So you can have, 30, 40 people wandering around your house within the space of an hour and a half. And you would hope that all of these people are genuinely interested and they are going to perhaps put an offer in or be in the market to put an offer in on your property. So that's the main thing I noticed. And I actually think that in a way saves, I'd say, a lot of stress on the seller, but also time as well. So obviously in the UK, if you're having one-to-one appointments, you've basically got to make sure that your house is clean and tidy all of the time in case you happen to have viewings on that week. And as I said, the viewings don't always happen on the same day. You might have someone come to look at your house on Monday, someone Wednesday, someone Friday. Whereas here, you get your house ready once for that one Saturday, that one Sunday. Everybody comes and you hope it would sell on that day. If not, you might have to hold another home open a couple of weeks later. But from what I've seen from the houses we were looking at, most of them had one home open and that was it. The house was basically sold a couple of days after that. The other main thing I noticed here was in the offering process. So in the UK, you see your house on Rightmove, whatever, the estate agent website, and usually there's a price there. So your house might cost $299,000. And if you're interested in the house, you might offer slightly under it, you might offer that amount, you might offer slightly over it, but that I feel is really uncommon in the UK. You don't often get lots of people offering over the asking price. Whereas here, lots of homes are listed at offers over. So your house that you're viewing might say offers over 600,000, and it's then up to you to pick how much you essentially want to pay for this house or how much you want to offer. Whereas in the UK, not so much. You don't get people offering over the asking price usually. Happens sometimes, but not usually, I found. The other main thing I noticed is here, they'll ask you to put in your best and final offer. So you basically get one chance. If you've seen a house you like on your home open day, most people then offer that afternoon, that evening, and you get one chance to offer on that property, and that is your final offer. So if someone outbids you, you don't have the wiggle room to then go back to real estate and say, oh no, actually I want to offer this, I want to offer more, because it's your best and final offer and that's it. Whereas in the UK, I feel like you have more of that chance, that opportunity. So if you were to offer on a property and someone else was to see it 3 or 4 days later and they might offer, I don't know, £10,000 more, the estate agent will usually ring you and say, look, this is the situation we're in. We've got another buyer, they've offered, this much. Is there any way you can match them or offer more? And there's that sort of open dialogue there where you've got the opportunity to go and out offer the other buyer, whereas here that's just not the case, and we got burnt by that on our first offer. So the house we bought now wasn't actually the first house we put an offer on, and if you follow my Instagram stories, you'll know we were pretty gutted at the time. So we offered on a house we saw maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to seeing this house, and it was offers over 600,000. So again, it's up to you to offer how much you want to offer, and it's best and final. So we went in at $650,000. We offered $50,000, that's about £25,000 over the asking price. And now one of our friends that works in real estate was basically like, whoa, that's a massive overoffer. You've got that house, no problems at all. And that's what we felt as well. We felt we'd put in a really, really strong offer, and there's no one that's going to offer much more than that. And yeah, it turned out that someone had offered more than that. It wasn't a lot more. It was only, they wouldn't give us an exact figure, but they said it was around the $5,000 to $10,000 mark. So someone had offered a tiny bit more than us on that property, and we weren't able to then out offer them because it was our best and final offer. So we weren't then able to say, oh, actually, we're going to offer, $70,000 now. And that at the time was gutting because we did have a bit more wiggle room essentially, so we could have offered slightly more on that house, but we thought, we've offered $50,000 more than the asking price. That's a really, really fair, strong offer, and we just never thought that someone would offer more than that. So yeah, that was our first experience on this best and final offer, that there wasn't the room there to go back and say, oh, actually I can offer 20 grand more, which I think in a way is a bit silly, because at the end of the day, buyers want to get the most for their house, and your agent wants to get the most for that house as well for commission. So yeah, it just felt a bit weird that we weren't able to then go back and actually offer, $10,000-$20,000 more. But yeah, the funny thing about that was then when we bought this house, so we saw this house 2 or 3 weeks afterwards, we put the offer in on this house and we didn't offer as much over. So this house was listed at, I think it was 639, so $639,000. It wasn't offers over, it was just $639,000. And I think if we hadn't have had the experience before, we probably would have just offered $639,000. But having been outbid on the previous house, we just didn't want to risk it. So we thought we'll offer a bit more, and we offered $662,000. So we essentially had offered them, $23,000 over the asking price in hopes that that would get us over the line and not many more people would be offering over, because it was a set price, it wasn't offers over. And that was another good tip we learned from one of our real estate friends. Never offer an equal figure when you're bidding. So the house we bidded on first was offers over 600,000. We offered 650,000, and our real estate friend said, always offer a weird number. So we should have gone in at maybe 652,000, and that should have helped us out a bit. But also, he said lots of people just offer the equal number, and it's quite easy to get outbid in those situations. So we thought we'd offer 662,000 just in case someone had offered 650 or 660, and then we're just slightly above that. And again, because it's best and final offer, they don't have the opportunity to come back and then outbid us. So luckily no one did outbid us, and we did get this house for $662,000, which I just think is amazing value compared to the UK. So the house that we're in now is about the same value as our house in the UK, which was a 3-bed end of terrace house. Which, yeah, the property market down south in the UK is insane. What you get for your money is just extortionate, just so expensive. Whereas I find WA is quite affordable. It's not all of Australia. I know when I'm saying this, Sydney and Melbourne are still quite expensive, but WA is still very affordable. So we offered on this house. We had been house hunting for about 3 months at this point. So basically every weekend we were going to home opens. We would go to, 3, 4, 5 home opens a weekend. And as I said before, if you've seen on my Instagram stories, you would have seen that I shared lots of photos, and I'm sharing them now at the bottom just so you can all see the kind of houses that we were looking at. So we'd go to these home opens and there would be anywhere between 10 to 30 different groups of people walking around, having a look at the same time as you. You'd spend a bit of time talking to the real estate agent. But other than that, you just had free range, which I guess in a way is nicer as well. So when we viewed our house in the UK, you sort of feel a bit more pressured because it's a one-to-one situation. You're there with the estate agent, and the estate agent usually sometimes gives you a bit of breathing room, but they are following you around this tiny house you were looking at. So you can't have those private conversations with your partner or your other half. Whereas here, because there's so much going on, you can have those conversations while you're walking around the property, which I really liked. And there's no time constraint. It's not like, you feel the estate agent in the UK is very busy, has stuff to do, so you don't want to take up too much of their time. Because these home opens are, an hour and a half long, you can stay for as long as you want. You can walk around this house 2 or 3 times, really have a look in, the cupboards, have a look at everything, which I really, really like. So we had some things we wanted when we were looking for houses. The number one was a swimming pool, which everyone knows, which we bought a house without a swimming pool. This was actually the only house we saw without a swimming pool. Because here there's realestate.com.au, which is sort of a bit like Rightmove in the UK. It's where all the estate agents, all the real estate agents list all the properties, and you can filter out, your price range, your number of bedrooms, your area, and then see what's available, where you want to buy and for your price range, which is what we did. So one of my filters was always a swimming pool, which means that all the houses we saw had pools. But because of that, there was fierce competition. So at these houses, there's lots and lots of people because everybody wants a swimming pool here. Whereas this house, we actually didn't see online at all beforehand. We were one Saturday just driving around doing home opens. We had about an hour to kill, and we were thinking, this is between home opens, we'll grab a coffee. Our next home open's not for another hour. Have a coffee, just chill out. And then when we were driving around the area, we drove past this home open sign. So we drove down the street because we saw the home open sign at the end. And yeah, we pulled up outside this house and it was beautiful, and I hadn't seen it online before, so I did a quick Google in the car because I just thought, there's no point in looking at this house. I thought it'd be out of our price range just because of, the frontage of it and the size. I just thought, this is going to be way out of our price range, and I don't even want to look at it if it's not in the price range because it would just be depressing, basically. So I had a quick Google and it was, in our price range, which I couldn't believe. Obviously, I then saw online it didn't have a swimming pool, which then made sense as to why it was in our price range. Came in and there was significantly less people looking around this house than any of the other houses that we had seen. And again, I think that's because it didn't have the swimming pool. So we had a look around and we spent about 40 minutes looking at this house and talking to Annette, who was the lovely real estate lady who was selling the house at the time. And yeah, it was one of those houses that it didn't have everything we wanted. It didn't have the swimming pool. We wanted a workshop as well. We wanted a bigger back garden. So there were key things that were missing from this house. But it was one of those houses that you just get a feeling. If you've ever bought a house before, when you're looking around, the right house calls to you and you get a feeling. And that was this house essentially. We just knew when we left that this was the house that was for us. This was the house we wanted. And it almost felt a bit redundant seeing the other home opens that day because we were already set on this house, basically. So we went away and we put an offer in that night, and we did have to wait a couple of days for the agent to get all the offers that were put in on the day for this house. And we were lucky, we had offered the most, so essentially we had got the house. And in the back of our mind, we knew, you know, we can put a swimming pool in at a later date, which we've now got a swimming pool. So it's taken a year. We had to save for it. But yeah, we've got our swimming pool now. So now this house has basically everything that we wanted on our list. And we absolutely adore the house as well. So there were some houses we were looking at that, you know, we were overlooking some things about the house. We didn't love the house, but it had a swimming pool. So that was, you know, which, yeah, I'm so glad we did it this way round now, that we found a house that we really, really liked without a pool, and then we just put one in ourselves, rather than get a house that we were a bit iffy about, but it had a pool. So I think fate works in funny ways like this, and I think because, you know, it wasn't on our list of houses to see, we just happened to drive past the home open sign. I think it was fate that this house was ours. And the funny thing about it was we had moved into the house, and a couple of days later I actually got a phone call from the real estate who was selling the other house that we put the offer in, that we offered $50,000 more and was outbid on. And they actually said, you know, the finance for the other people who put the offer in has fallen through. They basically don't have the money to buy this house. Are you still in the market to buy this house? And I had to say to him, like, no, we've literally just bought a house. But yeah, at the time it was a bit annoying because it's, you know, then we had a solid offer. We did have the finance in place, and we could have essentially gone ahead and bought that house, the house that had the swimming pool, the house that had the workshop, had all of our criteria bits, but we'd already bought another house by this point. But now looking back, I actually 100% prefer this house over the house we saw, like the house plan, the layout of this house, the fact that we've been able to design our own swimming pool, design our own pool area, and it's not just been done for us. I actually really, really like that about it now, that it's ours, it's not, you know, what someone else has picked. But yeah, so that was our sort of experience of the house buying process. We had, two houses we really liked, put 2 offers in, the second of which was accepted. We spent 3 months looking at all of these houses at home opens, and yeah, we didn't feel the need to put offers in on any other houses. These were the 2 that we wanted, and we're very, very lucky we got the second one, because the market here is very, very competitive. So in the UK, again, I feel like houses can sit on the market for months and months and months, and there's just not that much movement. It's not as quick as over here. Whereas over here, you know, you see, we've had a couple of houses around the corner from us, you see the for sale sign go up, you see home open go up, and then suddenly it says home open cancelled on the sign. And that's because the house is sold before someone's even seen it in some cases. So in lots of cases, buyers from over east will see a house online, they won't necessarily fly over here to see it, and they will just put an offer in and they will buy that house basically. So yeah, basically things move here, and sometimes there's not even home open, so people don't even see the houses. Whereas in the UK, I don't feel like that's a thing. Usually, you know, there's lots and lots of viewings before a house will sell there. So yeah, that overall the housing market, I've had a much better experience of buying a house over here than when we were in the UK. So just lots of different things, the speed, the one home open for everybody, just makes it much simpler here. And yeah, although the best and final offer isn't great, I think that probably does contribute towards the speed of things, that there's not this back and forth and oh, how much more can you offer and can you beat this offer? It's just, that's it. Like there's no haggling, no wiggle room. It's just done and dusted. Usually the day or the day after the home open. So very, very, very quick. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed seeing all of the other houses that we looked at. And yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I really like going and looking at other people's houses. So the whole home open experience was really, really good for us. It was something that I really enjoyed doing at the weekend, having a look and, you know, knowing that we are going to buy one of these houses. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you found it informative, and that if anyone is thinking of moving to Australia, or people that are already here and are thinking of buying in Australia, that there's been some helpful tips in there, some helpful bits about the process. And for all of my followers in the UK, I hope that you found it interesting as well, as I know I do have lots of messages on Instagram about it, and I know lots of you did really enjoy following along when we were going to home opens and seeing different houses. If you did like this video, please don't forget to hit subscribe to my channel, and I will be making another video next week. So I'm aiming to do 1 video a week. And in the lead up to Christmas, I'll be doing some hauls, so some Christmas crate ideas, some Christmas present ideas, just bits like that as well.